Glass.
I don't understand.
Don't understand.
The ring, suka.
This is from my wife.
You're tough. I like that. I'll see you tonight.
Get up. Now!
Real troublemaker, huh?
The narrative begins with Kyle LeBlanc, an American employed at a steel mill in Magnitogorsk, Russia. Struggling to achieve a work-life balance, he receives a heartfelt call from his wife, Gray, who expresses her longing for more quality time together. Touched by her request, Kyle resolves to take a vacation from his demanding job to rekindle their relationship and dedicate his full attention to it. On his drive home that evening, he eagerly reaches out to Gray to share his plans for a visit, hopeful to reconcile and prioritize their relationship. However, the situation takes a distressing turn when he overhears Gray's anxious voice on the phone, revealing that a man named Sergio Koviz has broken into their home and is attacking her. Kyle rushes home but arrives too late, discovering his wife's lifeless body on the sofa. In his grief, he is ambushed by Sergio, who strikes him from behind before fleeing the scene. Overcome with rage and despair, Kyle pursues Sergio through the streets of Magnitogorsk, leading to a dramatic confrontation. Subsequently, both men are apprehended by the police and brought to court. However, Sergio successfully convinces the judge to acquit him due to insufficient evidence. In a moment of desperation fueled by anger and frustration over the verdict, Kyle obtains a handgun from a bailiff and retaliates by shooting Sergio multiple times in front of the courthouse, resulting in his life sentence without the possibility of parole. Kyle and other inmates are then transferred to Kravavi prison, overseen by the corrupt warden, General Khrushchev. Upon arrival, they are ordered to surrender their possessions. Kyle, however, refuses to part with his wedding ring, leading to a violent altercation with Lieutenant Talek, who forcibly removes it. Later that night, Kyle witnesses prison officials transferring another American inmate, Billy Cooper, to a different cell, where Billy is brutally assaulted by an inmate named Andrei, who is affiliated with the Russian mafia and appears to have bribed the guards. The following morning, the guards bring injured and frightened Billy to the infirmary, while Andrei nonchalantly interacts with other inmates as if nothing is amiss. As the inmates form a line, Andrei taunts Kyle by referencing his late wife. This provocation incites Kyle's anger, leading to a physical confrontation between them. Consequently, Kyle is placed in a bleak solitary confinement cell. After spending several days in solitary confinement, Kyle embarks on a hunger strike and, at a critical juncture, contemplates suicide. However, he is ultimately inspired by memories of the joyful moments he shared with his wife, which help him recognize the importance of survival. A few days later, he is transferred to a cell with inmate 451, an African-American prisoner accused of murdering 3 of his previous cellmates. Kyle approaches this new situation cautiously, remaining aware of his cellmate's reputation. He chooses to remain silent. During this time, Kyle's brother-in-law visits him in prison, informing him that Gray has been laid to rest with dignity. He also shares that he is actively working to secure Kyle's release and advises him to consider offering money to the guards to improve his conditions while incarcerated. The following day, Kyle strikes up a conversation with Billy in the prison yard. Billy reveals that he is serving an 18-month sentence for a DUI incident in which he crashed into a Greek restaurant. They share a laugh over their mutual craving for Greek food after a few drinks. Their conversation is interrupted by another American inmate, Malachi, who is confined to a wheelchair. Malachi discusses the internal politics of the prison, including the various inmate factions and the collaboration between the Russian mafia and the prison guards. Gradually, Kyle adjusts to his new life behind bars. Despite Andrei's ongoing taunts, he refrains from engaging in fights. One night, Kyle experiences a vivid nightmare in which Sergio attacks his wife, leaving him distressed and gasping for breath, which disturbs his cellmate. This incident leads to a confrontation that jeopardizes Kyle's safety. He attempts to bribe the guards for a cell change, but they increase their demands due to his American citizenship. Several days later, Malachi reveals that the prison's fight events are orchestrated by General Khrushchev, who profits from betting on the fighters. Andrei, the undefeated inmate, brutally defeats another competitor. When Kyle inquires about inmate 451's involvement in the fights, Malachi informs him that he has declined to participate. Inmates at Crababy Prison are assigned to physically demanding jobs. During one such assignment, several gang members conspire against Kyle, falsely accusing him of verbal abuse. The officers allow the gang members to reclaim their honor, resulting in a severe beating for Kyle. He finds himself back in solitary confinement, tormented by unsettling sounds from the adjacent inmate. Feeling powerless, he can only pound on the walls in an attempt to request silence. A month later, Kyle is released from solitary. However, his appearance has changed significantly due to considerable hair and beard growth. During a dinner with fellow inmates, Andrei initiates a series of taunts that culminate in a violent altercation.
Nice to see you again. I'll see you tonight.
Where the fuck's he go?
What?
You American. You going inside for a long, long time.
Shortly thereafter, prison guards intervene and return Kyle to solitary confinement. Within the prison, tensions escalate as gangs engage in deadly confrontations over minor disputes, leading to the deaths of inmates. While on a work assignment, a landmine detonates, momentarily distracting the guards. Taking advantage of this chaos, Billy and another inmate attempt to escape. However, the situation ends tragically when the other inmate is shot and Billy is apprehended. Meanwhile, Kyle continues to endure relentless bullying from Andrei and his associates while diligently working on self-improvement. Kyle is scheduled to face Andrei, a significantly stronger opponent.
Give.
Come on!
Initially overmatched, Kyle makes a dramatic comeback by inflicting severe injury on Andre, ultimately leading to his death. This intense confrontation results in a catastrophic mental breakdown for Kyle, a moment that remains etched in the memories of both inmates and guards. Surprisingly, this pivotal event instills in him a renewed sense of confidence that he had previously lacked. Kyle embarks on an unbroken winning streak, earning respect and becoming increasingly hardened in this brutal environment. His matches grow increasingly violent, sometimes resulting in fatalities. Despite the concerns of his supporters, particularly Malachi and Billy, Kyle remains resolute in rejecting assistance from his brother-in-law or the American embassy, convinced that nothing will change his mind. In a moment of reflection, inmate 451 inquires about Kyle's identity, to which Kyle responds cryptically, likely referencing Russian Independence Day. Frustrated by ongoing physical assaults, Billy seeks another escape. However, Malachi betrays him by revealing his plans. Following Billy's capture and Malachi's betrayal, he finds himself incarcerated alongside a fellow fighter named Valia, who is eager for revenge. In a defiant act, Billy spits in Valia's face, provoking a brutal beating that nearly pushes him to death's door. The next morning, Kyle witnesses Billy's final moments, during which he imparts crucial advice urging Kyle not to succumb to the influence of guards or fellow inmates. Moved by Billy's words, Kyle resolves to embark on a new journey of self-discovery. He decides to abstain from further fights, which incites the wrath of the prison guards. In retaliation, they punish him by hanging him outside in harsh weather conditions. Despite this ordeal, Kyle remains steadfast in his determination. Meanwhile, inmate 451 gains new insights. Upon learning of Malachi's betrayal and Billy's fate, he resolves to avenge his friend's death. He douses Malachi in a flammable substance and ignites him, leading to a gruesome demise. As he witnesses Malachi's fiery end, inmate 451 is reminded of the traumatic experiences from his childhood, specifically the abuse he suffered at the hands of a teacher. It is revealed that he sought revenge by setting fire to that teacher, an act that resulted in his own incarceration. Kyle's unwavering courage and determination inspire the prison gangs to put aside their rivalries and unite. They collectively refuse to engage in combat, defying the orders of the general. This defiance leaves the prison authorities powerless, infuriating the general and his associates, who had previously profited from betting on the fights. With all bets now placed on Kyle, the authorities find themselves in a precarious financial situation. They blame Kyle for inciting the prisoners' rebellion and plot to eliminate him in an effort to restore order. Before this plan can be executed, Kyle is released from his restraints and taken to the infirmary for medical attention. During this period, he experiences a vision of his deceased wife, who expresses joy at his rediscovery of his true self. Kyle shares his longing for her, and she reassures him that as long as someone remembers them, no one truly disappears. Back in his cell block, General Khrushchev confronts Kyle, frustrated by the challenge to his authority. He coerces Kyle into one final match against Malik, a formidable inmate who has been isolated from the general population. Malik, whose massive physique is a result of prolonged solitary confinement, is the same individual whose voice Kyle had heard through the walls. The upcoming confrontation promises to be significant. The fight begins with Kyle being overpowered, but just as he faces imminent defeat, he starts banging on a door, reminiscent of his time in solitary confinement. Malik recognizes this as a signal and embraces Kyle as a friend, realizing that Kyle is the only person who has reached out to him over the years. Lieutenant Talek, enraged, orders them to engage in combat. However, Kyle refuses and instead positions himself as a target. As Talek prepares to shoot, Malik intervenes and attacks the guards. The prisoners rally together in protest against their captors. Amid the chaos, Malik is fatally shot while confronting the guards. Kyle offers comfort to Malik in his final moments. The guards regain control of the situation, forcing the inmates to retreat. Kyle recounts his story to inmate 451, who offers assistance in helping him escape before they return to their cell. Inmate 451 provides Kyle with crucial documentation to facilitate their escape. Krabovy prison has a long-standing history of murder and corruption spanning over 2 decades. 451 implores Kyle to bring these troubling realities to the attention of the U.S. government. Initially hesitant, Kyle is ultimately persuaded by his cellmate to take a stand. The following day, he is pitted against Valia in combat, where he gains the upper hand and dislocates Valia's shoulder. In a moment of rage, Valya wields a knife, inadvertently killing the Russian mafia lord. Seizing the opportunity, Kyle incapacitates Valya before facing the guards. As predicted by 451, he escapes through a hidden passage leading to the garage, where he formulates a bold plan. In a surprising turn of events, he attacks a prison guard while holding Talik at gunpoint and secures him under a car. Kyle retrieves the key, reclaims his wedding ring, and dons the guard's uniform, which closely resembles that of the general's. He urges 451 to join him in his escape. However, 451 declines, emphasizing the importance of exposing the prison's illicit activities. Kyle successfully escapes by driving away from the facility. Meanwhile, 451 infiltrates the general's office and executes Khrushchev for his transgressions. Consequently, 451 is returned to his cell, while Kyle makes his way back to his hometown. The corruption within Crababy is unveiled, leading to the prison's permanent closure. In the concluding scene, the world becomes aware of the prison's dark secrets, marking a triumph for justice. Thanks for watching. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe for more of these recaps. Until next time, have a nice day.